Okay, well, I hope with this video we're able to wrap up the lymphatic system. Really big area to our immune system, and it seems kind of complicated at first, but by the time you've done all the practice questions, you've been through the chapter, maybe got the little overview we had, and then studied these questions, I think you'll begin to understand the lymphatic system. And as we go further into the book, you'll see how more of these things interact. So let's pick up the last few things. Once again, I'm looking at direct test material here, so stay with me, and I think it'll really help you in studying for your test. Okay, all right. The main activity that causes fluid to flow through lymphatic vessels. So what causes the lymphatic fluid to move through the vessels? It's the exact same as the veins. It's muscular contraction. So whenever I contract my arm, then it causes the lymphatic fluid to go further down my arm. Oh, whenever I work my torso, whenever my muscles move, it causes the lymphatic fluid to move. So what's good about exercising? What's good about exercising is not only am I building my muscles, I'm moving the lymphatic fluid throughout my whole system. What else am I doing? Well, I'm getting the old blood back up, because the old blood comes up like from my legs and stuff. The blood comes up through what? Muscular contraction, pushes it up to the veins. Well, guess what else that muscular contraction does? It pushes the lymph through the lymphatic system. So the more I exercise, the more I fight off organisms, the more my immune system works. Exercise is a win-win. Even if you just park your car about 10 spaces further away from where you want to get out at, even just walking and moving your arms is actually big, because the lymphatic system, where are all those lymph nodes? They're all throughout our abdomen and our torso. And we've got some lymph nodes here, but our arms, our legs, how are we going to get those? We've got to be moving. Elderly people especially, who begin to become a lot less mobile, their immune system really begins to shut down, because what happens when the lymphatic fluid goes down or just sits right there, then we don't make any new lymphocytes, and we don't go through this system of filtering it out. Okay. So once again, what causes the lymphatic fluid to move? Muscular contraction. All right. Now, the white pulp of the spleen functions to produce lymphocytes. All right. So where do we produce lymphocytes? We produce them also in the spleen. Okay. And it's called the white pulp of the spleen functions to produce lymphocytes. Now, an infection. Now when we say we have an infection in the body, that is when pathogens, grow and cause damage. All right. Now, I'm going to give you the whole question for this, and I want you to think about why the answer is the way it is. Now, first of all, you have pathogens and you have non-pathogens. Pathogens are organisms such as bacteria. Okay. A pathogen is and maybe you've had microbiology, maybe you're fixing to have it later, maybe you're not going to take it at all, but a pathogen is a disease-causing organism. If it's not a disease-causing organism, then it's just a bacteria or a virus or whatever. But if it's a disease-causing organism, then it's called a pathogen. Okay. Now listen to this. I'm going to give you a little bit more probably than you needed on this. This question says, an infection results when pathogens do what? Enter the blood. No. Okay. Pathogens enter the blood, and some of the pathogens don't multiply. Okay. Some of them don't cause damage. Okay. Now, when they enter a tissue area, no. Now I'm going to give you one that you would think would be the answer. Okay. Now once again, the question is, an infection results when pathogens, and here's the answer. I mean, this is not the answer, but the answer is grow and cause damage. That's the answer. But this is what a lot of people put on this one. They put this all the time. Grow and multiply. Now, that would seem like that's right, because if you've got a pathogen, if you've got a bacteria that causes diseases and it's multiplying fast, yeah, that can be a problem, but it's got to cause damage. It's got to cause damage before it's a true pathogen. Okay. So an infection occurs. An infection results when pathogens grow and cause damage. Okay. Now, the fact that humans usually cannot contract monkey pneumonia is explained by the theory of species resistance. All right? Species resistance. which means that certain species, we talked about this a little bit earlier, this was one of the examples, and I knew I was going to cover it a little bit later, so I didn't dwell on it back then. But species is meaning a type of animal species or a type of plant species, okay? So species resistance means that we cannot catch monkey pneumonia because humans are resistant to that organism. It gets in us and it doesn't work the same way in our system. Now it's kind of interesting because do we have species resistance for everything? Are there things we can catch from other organisms? And the answer is yes. There's certain things we can catch from animals, okay? But there's certain things that we can't, and that's called species resistance. All right. Let's see where we're going to go from there. Okay. A non-specific class of chemicals. Oh, I talked about interferon a while ago, and I didn't give you the definition because I knew we were going to have it later. Okay. This is a definition for interferon. I-N-T-E-R-F-E-R-O-N. Interferon. Remember now, this is what we used to use to fight cancer. We still do. We still may give people interferon treatments, okay? But interferon is not quite as big with the B and T cells that are out there. But what is interferon? It's a non-specific class of chemicals, okay? So what is interferon? It's a chemical, okay? A non-specific class of chemicals that can inhibit what? Viruses and cancer cell growth, okay? Now why is that so significant? Now remember, that's what I talked about a while ago on interferon. It can inhibit viral growth and cancer growth. Well, remember, antibiotics don't do anything for viruses. And what's the difference between cancer growth and regular growth? And that's that it looks like a regular cell dividing, so our body doesn't go in and try to kill off those cells because it doesn't recognize them as being a disease. Instead, it says, like a brain tumor, the body says, well, nothing's wrong because it doesn't want to kill off its own brain cells. Okay, so that's a problem. So interferon is a non-specific chemical, meaning that wherever we put it, it's going to kill organisms wherever it's at. Okay, so it can kill viruses and it can kill cancer cells, and it's a big thing. Interferon's a big thing. Just because it's not the newest thing doesn't mean we don't still use it. Okay, now an enzyme. Okay, how? Okay, all right. The question says, which of the following is not an enzyme capable of destroying foreign bacteria? Okay, so which is an enzyme not capable of destroying foreign bacteria? Well, let me tell you the ones that are. Okay, pepsin is an enzyme that can kill foreign bacteria. Lysosome, L-Y-S-O-Z-Y-M-E, lysozyme, lysosome is part of the cell. Lysozyme can kill bacteria. And lipase can kill bacteria. Okay, so pepsin, lysozyme, and lipase can kill bacteria. The answer to this particular question is fibrin, and fibrin actually has to do with blood clotting, and so it doesn't kill bacteria. All right. Now, the most common immunoglobulin for allergies, okay, is IgE, immunoglobulin E. Now, what do we say in there? Okay, the most common immunoglobulin for antigens is IgE, immunoglobulin E. So, I kind of talked about this just briefly, but we didn't really go into immunoglobulins. You'll have a little bit in your practice questions. So here you go. You've got these cells, and I don't want to say they're straight B cells, but they're similar to B cells in that they have these little trajections that match up to different things. They're going throughout your body and they're looking for antigens. What's antigens? Antigens are foreign particles in your body. So we have an immunoglobulin, which is a substance we have a substance in this lymphatic system that's going around looking for those. Now, what's the one that's gonna trigger? What's the one that's gonna pick up? What's an allergy? An allergy is a foreign particle. It could be pet dandruff in there. It could be certain pollens from trees. It could be a certain type of dust. So immunoglobulin E, okay, is the one. Let me read the question again, okay, make sure you understand it. Which is the most common immunoglobulin for allergies? And its answer is IgE, immunoglobulin E. So how do we fight allergies? Okay, so we give you a shot okay, we give you a shot of something that goes in there. And first of all, we got to give you something that picks up the particles in the body that you're really allergic to, okay? But on the same token, we don't want to, we want to catch those, but we don't, with immunoglobulin E, we can go in there and that triggers it off because it's picking up all the different foreign particles. But on the same token, immunoglobulin E is trying to capture all those and filter them out of our body, okay? So I'm going to repeat that question again, all right, just so that you understand what we're saying. What is the most common immunoglobulin for allergies? Which one is transferring, going throughout your lymphatic system, looking for all the different things that you're allergic to? Immunoglobulin E, so we abbreviate that IG, which stands for immunoglobulin, and then E. So what do you suppose we get? What do you suppose we get we get in allergy shots? You know, why is it so specific? You go in and get tested for allergies, and they put all these little bitty pins in your back to see if they fester up, see if they turn red. Because we're looking for the things that make antigens in your body that tell your body that it's a foreign particle. Certain things go in your body that you're able to just filter out. So the immunoglobulin E, so we go in there, so we put a little bit of those organisms in your body so that you develop this immunoglobulin E that has what? The specifics for all those things. So you might be allergic to a certain type of tree pollen. So we're going to go in there and we're going to put something in there to try to make that immunoglobulin have more receptors for the pollen of that tree. All right, here we go. Erythrocytes, okay, blood cells clump together because of what process? And it's agglutination. Okay, agglutination just simply means that all the organisms clump together. Now, can we have that in the lymphatic system? And the answer is yes, we can through immunoglobulins. And so agglutination just means that things clump together. A blood clot would be a serious form of that. But agglutination is when things come together and they solidify, they begin to mesh together, a bunch of fibers. That wraps us up for a pretty crazy chapter. I think you probably have a general understanding of the lymphatic system. Big part of the immune system. Remember, we have our white blood cells. We have the blood itself, but then we have the lymphatic system. So I think we've talked about it pretty good. I tried to help you a little bit on this, in that I tried to explain the lymphatic system, and then I tried to go over potential test questions. So once again, study that really good. I think you'll do fine on the test, but it's a really important chapter, and I just wanted you to be sure you understand it's going to be a big thing in your lifetime, the B cells, the T cells, and the whole understanding of the lymphatic system that early pioneers of science didn't even know we had until recent generations discovered this lymphatic system. Hey, good luck, and I'll pick you up with the next chapter.